Hello my beautiful little Moglets. Before we jump into this, I want to mention that I'm a little bit unprepared. This seemed very urgent. I kind of got the gist about what was going on through Az, so I'm mostly going to be relaying a lot of his thoughts and concerns. I'll try and give my own perspective as well, but as far as PvP is concerned, I think everyone knows I'm not the most hardcore PvPer, so take that with a grain of salt. But we recently got some developer notes. 6 heroes will be improved. I want to go over all of them, but I'm going to start with the one Az and his guildmates were super concerned about, and that's Faithless Lidica down here. So we're gonna skip straight to her and talk about her a little bit. So her change is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Doesn't mean it's not bad, but when she does her S3, all allies will get skill nullifier. For those that don't know, skill nullifier is basically being able to take a hit once and not take any damage. She actually didn't do anything besides increasing one hero's skill cooldowns to max. And I think this is more of a problem because she can chain this right after S2. And yeah, thinking about it like that, where she can do S2 and then S3 right away, let's go into our journal since we weren't lucky enough to pull her. Also with her base speed of 114, it wouldn't be very hard to get her to be the fastest. But yeah, she can start with S2. AoE buff Dispel, increasing her combat readiness enough to get an extra turn, and all other allies by 20% in most cases, when it's, you know, a typical 4v4. And another thing is, this can't trigger a counter attack, so if you're hoping you could try and knock her off her game with like ML Cecilia or a Charles or whatever, nope, not gonna work. And then she can go straight into S3. As her S2 gives her 100% combat readiness. This currently just cripples one enemy, making it so where they have increased skill cooldowns, you know, they won't be able to do anything but their basic for a while. But after the buff, her and her entire party will then have skill nullifier. So just one unit on one turn can buff Dispel, give herself an extra turn, give all of her allies 20% combat readiness, totally cripple one of her enemies, and then give everyone skill nullifier. I can definitely see where Az is coming from. I'm actually just going to read you what he told me, honestly. Hope he's okay with that. Might be a little bit hard to see here, but I don't think you can really increase the text size of Discord. He says, Moga, I have a super big request of you. With all my in-game friends and guilds super worried, they are overbuffing F Lidica to a dangerous level that makes her more terrifying, more overpowered than any unit in the game. They are giving her S3 AoE skill nullifier for allies. So now she can S2, Dispel, CR ramp 25% AoE for allies, get an extra turn, use S3 which completely nukes skill cooldowns on an enemy, then gives everyone skill nullifier, kind of like what we were just talking about. This breaks her so much, all of PvP will be ruined. There will be no counters to this, as she can't be countered. She will literally be the new SSB but a million times worse. She's already a strong unit, and if they give her this buff, all of PvP will be ruined. This is an SSS dangerous situation, more dangerous than the RB buff back in the day. So yeah, pretty much I'm just acting as a messenger, but from my own personal perspective, it does seem like, I mean, she was good before, you know? She was nice, solid all around, in my opinion, and I still kind of held that opinion. She wasn't totally necessary, she wasn't like totally meta, but now I mean, yeah, dude. AoE skill nullifier after everything she already can do on her first turn. That's just way too much. And I suppose that's pretty much the end of that. I still want to go through, look at the rest of the balance. I love me some balance updates. We're gonna obviously skip Faithless Lidica, but RGB 5 stars, we got Pavel, Sigrid, Lidica, and Zeno. Only one of those I actually use is Lidica, but let's check. Okay, so we're going down the route of nerfing all counter-attack comps. Basically with Pavel, his Storm Bullet just cannot trigger a counter-attack anymore. As for his Destructive Pursuit, I'm pretty sure it says the exact same thing in before and after. All right, they say down here, Destructive Pursuit will have increased damage of 25%. Yeah, they didn't really put that there, but okay. But yeah, I mean, I've seen some really strong Pavels. Destructive Pursuit's getting a nice damage bump. Storm Bullet can't be countered. I think it's a really good buff. Yeah, so his Storm Bullet is the AoE where he gets an extra turn. That's super important that that can't be countered anymore. I can imagine most people didn't bother really raising Pavel for competitive play because of that. But yeah, now that it can't be countered, you know, you can go straight into Destructive Pursuit then, since if you soul burn it, you get an extra turn. And, well, I'm not too sure if SSB is gonna be much of a problem anymore once that healer drops. But yeah, I mean, also the damage bump for his ult, can make it so where he can maybe, you know, kill anyone, you know? Go through Arius's, just be a really good single target damage dealer. We also got Cigarette here. It just sounds like Cigarette. And I'm sure I'm saying it wrong like I do everyone, but her skill Guillotine got buffed. Oh, damn. She'll inflict extinction now. All right, cool. So now we got a water Lilibet. Man, those revivers are really getting the crap beat out of them the last few days. I mean, yeah, there's really not much else to say there. Cool. Water Lilibet. What did they do to my Lidica? All right, we got a 1-turn unhealable on Thornbush. Okay. I'm actually not too sure about that, to be honest. Like, a lot of the Abyss dudes, like when they get a certain number of debuffs, usually 3, bad things are gonna happen. Like, at best case, they're gonna wipe them, and then at worst case, like with, I think, Charles it was, he'll get his ult ready immediately. Unhealable, like, might be useful for PvP, but like in most other cases, it's not super useful, and it finishes 1 turn. Honestly, in some cases, that's actually a nerf, because if they like already have 1 debuff, then you proc that, whatever. I don't think it's a huge deal either way. All right, but they took the unhealable off of public execution, and instead exchanged it for decreasing buff durations by a turn. I mean, yeah, sure, like if they have immunity or whatever, I don't know how many people take Lidica into PvP, but you know, you could go through an immunity like that, or you could just have Faithless Lidica strip it and do everything else then. Zeno, my boy Zeno. I gotta definitely look him up in the journal because it's been a while. Yeah, okay, I'm already confused. Who is Ancient Beast? It's the name of his ult, but like, does he transform? Is Zeno the Ancient Beast? I've never actually played with him, and I've never actually played against him, so I don't know. Bruh, I'm literally just gonna preview his skills. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, okay, so there's the Ancient Beast. But like, it's gone now. Why would I need to increase its defense? Yeah, apparently that'll be getting more, plus effectiveness. Like, I'm just gonna assume it's talking about his stats, like he is part of the Ancient Beast or whatnot, and he'll have a slightly higher chance to silence on his ult. I mean, it says here, he will also be given an increase in the defense and damage dealt when an enemy uses, so it's just weirdly worded. It's not my fault. Faithless Lidica, talked about her already. Benevolent Roman. Oh yeah, he was ass. I'm still gonna look him up in the journal, but I just remember he sounded like really not good at all. Yeah, I think it's that he doesn't really do anything. You know, his 60% AoE silence on his ult. This weird skill where he personally isn't affected by combat readiness. If they've buffed him to make it so where all allies can't be manipulated by combat readiness, yeah, he'd be good then. And then this super RNG skill, where even if you soul burn it to guarantee the mana burst, it's still just 10 to 50%, so it's just weird. But let's see what they do. Alright, so his basic skill will have his effect chance doubled when the enemy is silenced, so from 35 to 70%. It's still kind of meh. I mean, I don't know, maybe in longer fights, you know, it can add up, all that combat readiness decrease. Also in PvE, perhaps he'd be pretty good. Oh, okay, and his ult is gonna dispel a buff now before trying to silence. You know, they're actually okay buffs. I still don't think he's super worth investing in, but like, they're okay. Again, maybe for PvE, like, that's probably too RNG if you want to be more consistent in PvP, but like, you know, in PvE, most of those like hard fights are long anyway, so since it's on a basic attack, you'll get a pretty nice like average amount of combat readiness decrease on your enemies. But yeah, those are all the changes. Seems like Pavel's gonna be pretty viable, honestly, I would say. I mean, again, I've seen some people do some cool things with Pavel already, but with those buffs, I think he's gonna be quite nice. Sigrid, Water, Lilibet. Lidica's the only one I actually use here, but I'm just kind of meh overall. I guess the decreased buff duration, you know, immunity, bye-bye, whatever. Zeno's also kind of weird. Don't think he's going to be meta either. I already talked enough about Faithless Lidica and Roman. Again, probably still PvE material, if that. But make sure to leave your own thoughts in the comments down below. Do you agree that Faithless Lidica didn't really need a buff, especially not that buff? If so, or if not, drop it down there. Dropping a like if you happen to enjoy is always greatly appreciated as well. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.